Welcome to This Is Whole Life, a podcast from the Whole Life Church in Orlando, Florida.
Join me, Ken Wetmore, lead pastor, and Melanie Bachman, our worship pastor, along with our communication team, Randy and Lucas. Take a look back, a look deeper, and a peek into the week ahead.
Here we explore meaningful conversations about spirituality, community, and living with purpose.
We don't have all the answers, but we are walking the journey together.
Wherever you're listening from, you're wanted here.
This is Whole Life.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 528 of This Is Whole Life, where you know what we do. Every week we dig a little deeper, and this conversation and the proverbial shovels are in your control. Podcast at wholelife.church or voicemail or text 407-965-1607. Join the conversation. Let us know what we said that we shouldn't have or what we missed out on. I mean, everyone's got an opinion, so let yours be heard. And we take constructive criticism, we take compliments, we take a little bit of everything.
We even take destructive compliments.
We have taken, yes, we have taken, that's a confirmation we have. Today, you're not going to want to miss the message today because it is one of probably the more, I feel like, more popular books or stories in the Bible that maybe because there's, and you mentioned it, what was it, Joseph's Technicolor or something. That's like a
Technicolor or Dreamcoat.
Yeah,
Dreamcoat or something. That was a Broadway
Andrew
show
Lloyd
for
Webber, I think.
Yeah.
Joseph's amazing
Technicolor. I should have looked it up because when you kind of were like, I think I'm going to get this wrong, and now I'm sure I've just butchered it. So if you know what it is, then you already know what it is. So
have you watched that? I've never watched it.
I haven't either.
Watching it here?
No.
Did you watch it, Melanie? You're
I have never seen it.
Oh, okay.
No.
Nope.
And you know, maybe before, okay, hold on. Let me, so this is part of our favorite things series this summer, which we're about 3/4 of the way through. This week we were in Genesis 50 verse 20. That was courtesy of Mariana Parente. And
number one fan of the show, right?
Well, hold on.
Does she? Oh, okay.
She has a response this week, and so I need to read that
okay,
because
my fault.
I feel like
Did we lose her over this?
I feel like the rating went down, but you tell me at the end what you feel, how this works out. But anyway, Genesis 50 verse 20, and it's also if you want to hear the message that this is based on, then you need to go to swipe up in the show notes, and you will hit our a link to our sister podcast, which is Speaking of Grace, and it's episode 321. It is the most recent episode in that feed. So we did get a text message, and I was going to go into one. We'll start there later. It reads, "Hi, podcast fam. First of all, what an honor that my favorite Bible story was picked in this series. Ken, you did an amazing job on your sermon, and you pulled on a thread in the story, pun intended, that not many would have picked up on. Great job. Although the story of Joseph is my ultimate favorite, my favorite Bible verse is actually Jeremiah 29:11.
I fit that one in too.
Which was neatly weaved in quotes. You can't see my fingers, but in quotes in as well. The question asked at the end of the sermon is one I've asked myself many times. Knowing what I know now, where I've arrived in my life, and the people I've had the privilege to help, would I go through all the suffering and humiliation I've been through? And the answer is yes. Okay. I was going to see if they were going to take a guess. Anyway, not because I'm a saint or a masochist. I love that. But because in the end, isn't that what Jesus asks of us? On an unrelated note, I have a question about Jacob. God has shown us in the scriptures how much he values genealogy and ancestry, as evidenced by the many chapters dedicated to showing all the generations until Jesus' birth, starting with Abraham. With Jacob's 12 sons, there's a definite distinction with Joseph, as we've seen his story and is documented in detail. Why then would Jesus be a descendant of Judah, not Joseph? Interested in what your thoughts are on that. As always, thank you for all you do. The worship team has been on fire in all caps these past few weeks. Please keep up the great work. Your 0.1% fan, Mariana.
Oh,
so I
okay.
0.1. So I'm like, is that 0.1%?
I'm not sure.
Mariana, because I don't want to change the rating because you are the. I feel
what does that mean? 0.1 is that?
I know.
Like that she's in the top 99.9%? Is that what that means?
That could be. Because
Mariana's more cool than the rest of us. I'm not.
No,
I don't
of
understand.
course.
I mean, yeah. So.
Have you spent any time with her? It's like, yeah, obviously she's cooler than the rest of us. I mean,
yeah.
There's it. So what about it? Do you think that why is Why would Jesus be a descendant?
And I gotta tip my hat to Mariana. She snuck that one in because she actually put it in her original question. I said, "You only get one. You get your favorite verse." Great Questions is a totally different series than this. So, but she figured out how to game the system, and I respect that.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's why she's the number one fan.
0.1%.
Yes. She's in. I think she's in the 0.1 upper echelon of all. I think that's what that means. That's what I think it means now.
I would vote that.
Yeah, for
Sounds
sure.
good.
So what about it? Why descendant of Judah, not Joseph?
Well, I think this is a multi-layered answer. So another question, Mariana, that you could have asked is why not Reuben?
Yeah.
Because Reuben is actually the oldest. Mm-hmm. Judah is next in line. And then after that, you go down the line till you get to Joseph, who is the oldest child of Rachel.
Oh, okay.
So this gets super messy in this, and we didn't go into this in the sermon, but we're on podcast, so parents, just be warned. We're about to, this is about to go to places that you're going to get to decide whether or not you want your child listening to this, because the Bible is not a PG rated book. So let's go ahead. So the first problem that we have, let's just start off. So when Jacob gets married, his father-in-law Laban tricks him. He thinks he's going to be marrying Rachel. That's who he wants to marry.
That's right, yeah.
And he works for 7 years for her. They have a wedding feast. And instead of giving Jacob Rachel, he gives Laban, Jacob's father-in-law, gives him Rachel's older sister, Leah. And Jacob doesn't notice until the wedding night's over. And less unusual than you would think in that time of that culture and the place, she was probably veiled, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, point being, Jacob doesn't realize what's happened until he wakes up the next morning.
So why wasn't there like a guns at high noon the next day to kill Laban?
I think there was, but Laban held the advantage because Jacob was living off of Laban. He's working for Laban. Laban basically controls Jacob's entire life because...
But he got 7 years of his work.
Sure. And you know how, all of us have worked for an employer for 7 years, and you realize that employer, you still don't get to call the shots, right? And so Jacob gets really upset. Laban's like, hey, chill. All you have to do is work another 7 years for me, and I'll actually let you marry Rachel right away. Basically go ahead and fulfill the wedding period of time with Leah. Once that's over, I'll let you marry Rachel. And then you just work another 7 years to pay that off, and we're all good. And Jacob's not happy about it, but he wants to marry Rachel, and Laban could make it hard for him not to. So,
but why doesn't he just go, now see, for me, I'd have been like, cool, that's a great deal. So then whatever that time frame is from Leah that he has to wait,
right?
He marries Rachel.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. See ya. You know how it feels? Good.
Yeah. Well,
that's how I'd have felt like.
The problem is you have to outrun Laban. You have to get somewhere where Laban can't get to you. And we actually see that later on in the story when Jacob decides he wants to leave and get away from Laban because he feels like Laban's been cheating him. And he has a head start. He waits till Laban's way away from where he normally is. And then he takes his family, his herds and everything, and he takes off. Well, Laban actually catches up with him. And Laban says to Jacob when he finally meets him, he said, angel of the Lord met me last night and told me that if I harmed you, that God was going to smite me. So I can't touch you, but you're really lucky because you stole my daughters. You've taken all this stuff. You didn't even say goodbye. Anyway, that's a whole different story. Where I want to go with this is that when Rachel and Leah marry Jacob, Laban gives them a servant. Probably a better term would be a slave, a female slave that is their maid, if you will. And so those two maids, Rachel has one, Leah has one. Well, when Leah has babies and Rachel's not able to, Rachel takes her maidservant and gives her to Jacob as probably what we would call a concubine, but says, you go ahead and have sexual relations with her, have children, and those children are actually in my name because she's my slave, my maidservant, whatever you want to say. Those children are actually my children through her. Well, Leah seems to be like she can't have any more children, so she doesn't want to lose the race. So she then gives her maidservant to Jacob. So when we say that there are 12 sons of Jacob, it's not like there are 2 that are Rachel's and there's 10 that are Leah's biologically. It's actually different than that. Some of those sons are from Rachel's concubine, or I'm sorry, Rachel's maidservant. Some of them are from Leah's maidservant, and then some of them are actually Rachel's biological children, and some of them are Leah's biological children.
And thus emerges the premise for The Handmaid's Tale,
which I haven't. I have not watched that or read that. Is it?
I have read it and watched it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very disturbing.
Okay, well, then
it sounds disturbing.
I'm glad you took care of that, so we don't have to. So there we go. So anyway, so this is what's going on in the story, and so when you get to Reuben and Judah, Reuben's the oldest son, and he goes and sleeps with, is it Leah's maidservant or Rachel's maidservant? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But he basically sleeps with his father's concubine, basically. And so Jacob understandably is not appreciative of that, and basically says to Reuben, you are my firstborn, you aren't anymore. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get the privileges of that. And that actually happens. You actually see that put on Reuben when Jacob is dying and giving his final blessings out. And he basically says that Reuben will have to serve Judah because of that. So
that's what puts Judah ahead.
So that's what puts Judah ahead of Reuben. So now the question that Mariana is asking is, why is Joseph not going to be considered the oldest then? Why not? And the reason would technically be because he's not the oldest. He is the 11th born of Jacob's children. And even though he's born to Jacob's favorite wife, that doesn't make him the oldest, even though he's the oldest from Jacob's favorite wife. And
it was Rachel's maidservant.
Okay.
It seems like, though, if he wanted to, he could have, because of how much he loved Joseph, right?
Right.
So there was something stopping it.
Yeah, and when you read on later on in Leviticus, I think, maybe Deuteronomy, but there is a prohibition that God hands down to Moses from fathers favoring the child of their favorite wife. But this is after this period of time. So that's something, it wouldn't necessarily have been in effect, maybe.
Maybe it came into effect because of the generations upon generations.
I really think so. And I think that definitely has something to do with it. So to answer your question, I don't know if there's a clean answer to it other than because Reuben had forfeited because of his really poor judgment and decision-making, that put Judah next in line to be the oldest and to be the heir for Jacob. And that's why that's the line that Jesus comes through. So
there was some flexibility in making that, like, hey, bad call on your part. I am removing this mantle from you and giving it to another.
Yeah, but usually there had to be like a significant reason. And, sleeping with one of your father's wives would definitely fall into that category.
Or showing up with goat skin and pretending to be your brother.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But just to make it more interesting for you, Mariana, don't forget Judah was absolutely no saint either, because the heir from him comes because he slept with his dead son's widow, Tamar.
Goodness. Right. I think I was...
you want to talk about
think I was a week early with the whole General Hospital thing last week.
Oh,
for as far as soap operas go.
There was even a weirdness with her children too, because one of them, started to be born, and they tied a little string around him, saying, "Oh, here's the firstborn," but then he went back in, and his brother came out first. So who was really the firstborn? There was all kinds of mix-ups going on.
Yeah, it was.
Wow. Yeah, that's.
So you've asked a good question. I don't know if I have a super good answer, but I've given you some background that may help you as you're problem solving through it.
All right. So Lucas, do you want to address your concern over the message? Or do you want me to do it? But I would rather you do it if you prefer.
No, I was a little disappointed too. You know.
Wow, it's going to be that kind of podcast. All right.
Wow. Okay.
When Ken mentioned that the coat was actually not with that many colors.
I had a couple people actually text me and complain about yet again ruining a Bible verse.
Well, now wait a minute. I've done some research.
Yep. Go ahead.
And I think you've been Adventist your whole life.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure you're aware of this. In fact, I'm almost positive that you are. But you've heard of a book series called My Bible Friends.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. And in book 2,
yes,
as it were,
yep.
They're sitting at a loom,
yep.
Jacob and
yep.
Joseph and Benjamin. And
yep.
They have clay pots filled with lots of colors
yep.
in the dye.
Yep.
They're shearing the sheep, and they're dipping the wool, and they're spinning it into yarn. They're putting it in the loom. And out comes from the loom this amazing coat with like
many colors,
8 or 10 colors. So I think I'm not sure where you researched this, but I'm pretty sure Etta, who wrote these books and had somebody illustrate them, were probably digging in the same facts as you were. So maybe they got crossed. I'm pretty sure it's color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure?
I don't know.
Well, far be it for me to dispute Etta. Although I bet you Etta didn't tell you the story about Reuben, did she?
Because that is a G-rated family book.
Yeah, that is correct. And look, there's nothing that says it couldn't have had many colors in it. But if that's what you focus on, you're really missing the point of this garment.
Yeah, Lucas.
In my face.
So next time, pay attention when I talk, Lucas.
In my defense, I wasn't going to bring this up.
Well, that's why you don't talk behind people's backs either, because what is the Bible says? A little bird may carry the words to the king or something, or I don't know. Not that I'm a king or anything, but stuff can happen.
Well, the merch store is going to have a coat of many colors. I'm going to create one.
That's it.
Just make sure it's long sleeved.
Do they sell bathrobes in our merch store? Do they have those that we could do? Because honestly, I'd buy one.
I would too.
If there was a bathrobe of many colors, a whole life bathrobe
of many colors.
Not endorsed by Ken.
Yeah.
Endorsed by Etta.
Endorsed by Etta.
Lucas, your mission, should you choose to accept it.
That's it. Yeah.
Mission accepted.
So the reason why I think the many colors has become such a popular thing is, firstly, it's very visual, and we love visual things as human beings. And secondly, one of the things that would have obviously made the coat very, very valuable is if it had many colors in it, because back in those days, they didn't have access to dyes the same way that we do. And to create dyes was incredibly expensive. It was very difficult. And so if you had a coat that had many colors in it, it would most certainly identify you as an incredibly wealthy person who had a lot of money to burn. And again, that definitely fits the profile here. It's not, it doesn't necessarily go against it.
Yeah.
But what I really hope people will remember about this is it isn't so much about the coat, is about what it symbolized and what it meant in that time and that place, and that it symbolized authority. It symbolized that Jacob had picked a favorite and wasn't just kind of like, I have no favorites, and then doing a lot. It was like this. It was like just genuinely putting Joseph up on a pedestal and pointing at him and saying, hey, this is my favorite, and the rest of you need to go ahead and just deal with it. And that's really what he does when he gives Joseph this coat. And Joseph doesn't seem to shrink from the opportunity. He gets the coat. He has dreams. He shares those dreams. And
even Jacob, though, was a little irritated at the dreams that he shared. So I don't know. Maybe he thought he was taking it too far.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's the thing that always got to me, though, is I think Jacob starts it off with, obviously, this is the favorite. He's my boy. And as parents, when you treat one differently, even though we treat all of our children differently because they're different people, the fairness angle is something that we all understand that. I mean, whether that's at your employment, that's your home, your sibling. I mean, there's all the rivalries, there's all that stuff that goes on. But it seems like Joseph gets a little bit of a bad rap in, okay, maybe, and who knows, maybe he asked his father for the coat and it was like, oh, I need a new coat. And wouldn't it be cool if I had this really awesome super califragilistic?
Come on, Dad.
Yeah, come on, Dad.
I saw that all the other kids have one in Samaria. Come on, man.
Give me the keys to the loom, bro. Let's get this done. I'm old enough. It's time. But he has the dreams. And I mean, nobody asks for dreams. Right. Nobody controls.
Do you share all your dreams, Randy?
Yeah, mostly. I don't have that many of them. I have the bear dream at my grandpa's house when I'm a kid. I've had it since I can remember. Yeah. And every time as I get to, I can smell the river rock on the road from the junkyard. I can smell the 64 Impala we used to play in.
Oh, you smell in your dreams.
Oh, I can smell.
That's impressive. I think that's only a small percentage of people that actually smell in their dreams.
Oh, the old green octagon siding. It was like the same as the old roof. It was like roofing for the side of your building. And it was petroleum shingles. I can smell those. Oh. I can smell the musty breezeway. It was just corrugated tin with a little 1x2 framing and a screen door. And as I can feel the bear chasing me all the way, and I can feel him. I can feel the footsteps like on the ground, and I can feel his breath on my back. And when I hit the button on the door, I wake up every time. Wow. So he never gets me.
You're dreaming color or black and white?
Color, and I can smell the bear. It just smells wet and disgusting. And the closer
have you ever smelled a bear before? Like in real life, have you smelled a bear?
No. I mean, I've been close to a bear, but I've never got close enough to smell one. I mean, I've been within 5 or 10 feet of one a couple times.
But you know what a bear smells like.
In my dream, I do. It smells like a bear.
I think we should do a test. I think we should find a zoo.
All right.
That'll let us go ahead and hose down a grizzly bear, and then we throw Randy in there.
I'm picturing this image.
In the 3 seconds that he has, he can tell us whether it smells like his dream or not. And the reason,
I'll give you a thumbs up.
And the only reason, because they say that you can't dream something that you haven't experienced. They'll say, like, one of the things that I read somewhere about dreams is that, like, when you see faces in a dream, you're like, I've never met that person. You have. You may have seen them in a crowd. It may be something that's stored in the back, but according to one thing that I read, you cannot manufacture a face of someone that you have not seen before.
No people in that dream, even though I know my brother is there.
Yeah, but you have a smell that you've never smelled. That's the part that's fascinating to me.
I wonder if it's like a fur thing, like a wet dog smell.
It could be just fur.
I just want to do a study on this. I just really need to know. Is there any way that we could find? We don't even have to throw you in with the bear. We can hose the bear down outside of like some fence, and then we just have some meat that gets it over there. And then I want to know, because I really, really want to know.
Well, the funny part is there's no way I could know at the time, because this dream has not changed a frame since the first time I've had it. And I was probably 3 or 4. I remember it being at my grandpa's house and having the nightmare there. So it's been a recurring. I haven't had it in a long time.
So I looked up some of the statistics on this. 40% of women and 33% of men can recall experiencing smells in their dreams. However, smells only appear in about 1% of total recorded dreams.
Wow.
That's a weird.
I've every once in a while I have a dream where I smell something in it. Like it's like there's a strong smell. I recently had one like that, and it was that's what prompted me to look it up at the time. It's like, that's because
it's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I have two recurring dreams. The other one is snakes. And I hate those. And I hate snakes. Yeah. And that one is usually that was in earlier days when there were other spirits involved in my life that I usually would have that dream instead. So that was
well, according to Google, a bear smells like a wet dog.
That's how smart you are. I
didn't even know it was a dog.
And you just knew. Like, that's pretty cool.
I mean, I feel like that takes some fun out of the experiment, though.
I want to know.
Not waiting for Randy's thumbs up or thumbs down.
We need to know this.
In the bear grotto.
So, big question. How many of you can control your dreams? Like, what you're doing in your dream? Like, you can, like, choose to do different things.
I've tried. They said if you write it down in the next day, you start gaining more control. I've done that like a couple of days, but it's scary. So, I stopped.
Yeah.
Most of those dreams I don't remember. I know like there's ones where you first wake up and you're like, that was wild. It was so real, whatever. And then I'm like, I should have wrote it down, or I should have now I know Melanie asks ChatGPT. I told you about a dream I had a month ago, remember?
We put it into ChatGPT and it told us the meaning of Randy's dream.
And then I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this and put this into ChatGPT because I don't really want to know. Is what I figured out.
Now I'm going to put the bear dream in there for you so we can.
I can show you.
Smells like wet dog. You should have had that in.
I can show you on Google Maps exactly like where this all happens. It would be. I'll do that.
Do you have pictures? Because I feel like we could get a really comprehensive evaluation.
Actually, I'm hoping maybe to go home maybe this fall and we maybe take a ride. The person that owns my grandfather's old house, the cars in the junkyard is gone. It has been for years. But my brother stopped and was taking a picture of the house on his motorcycle about 2 years ago. And the person came out and was like, hey, what's going on? He's like, oh, my grandpa. You know Bob? Well, that's crazy. We grew up, blah, 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 blah. Come on in, have a cup of coffee. So they showed him all around the house and all the renovations and everything. So I'm sure if I went up there, they'd let me go out and
one of the recurring dreams that I have that I just hate, and I haven't had it in a while, so hopefully I don't have it again, but
it's going to happen tonight.
I dream
tomorrow morning when Ken comes in all red-eyed.
I dream that I'm in college and that it's the last day of the semester.
Oh.
And I get a phone call from the professor being like, you didn't take the final. You haven't been in my class. You are failing. And I'm like, what class? And I forgot to drop it. And I forgot. It was like, and this actually comes, I think, from a fairly real thing. I was in college where I went to drop a class and somehow it didn't get dropped. And that was.
Yeah. I think life repeats itself in our dreams sometimes. So, dreams. That's right. Okay, we were
Joseph's dreams.
Which is a pretty incredible motif, actually, because if you look at it, Jacob's dreams and then Joseph's dreams, but then the king's dreams and the baker's dreams and the winemaker's or the cupbearer's dreams.
Thank you. That's where I was going. Was just like this whole thing is filled with dreams, and I don't know that any of them. I mean, I guess Joseph's dreams weren't necessarily bad. They were obviously a kind of a snapshot into the future.
I feel like timing is everything. Context is everything.
Well, and I mean,
if your brothers are already jealous and you go to them and say, I had a dream where all your stuff bowed down to my stuff.
I was just going to say.
I feel like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't think he was. Maybe, okay, you can't control your dream, but the delivery of how and when and to whom. Yeah, I think he was totally in control. And I think I always pictured him as the friend who had everything and was like, but I have nothing.
Like humble bragging.
Yeah, for sure. And I never thought that he was, as a kid, I always felt like he got what he deserved. He was that friend that was like, you know what? That's what you get for running your mouth, you know? And not that slavery,
I
but
had this nightmare last night that all your stuff was worshiping my stuff.
The thing I wanted to get to, we had the dreams, which is crazy, but Potiphar's wife, and Ken said, I kind of feel like maybe Potiphar was more angry, or maybe there was anger directed towards her. Maybe it wasn't all at Joseph since he didn't kill him. And I always kind of thought that it was and maybe it's just the way the story's been told, but it always felt like she was the person like, oh, if I can't have you, then good luck. Whether that's true or whether it isn't, it always made me wonder, given the fact that we just talked about the dreams and sometimes saying what and to whom and to when, maybe, maybe the Bible says he's good looking. Maybe he was a little full of himself, and maybe, maybe he got himself in trouble. I mean, it wouldn't have been the first time, right? And maybe that's why he ends up in prison with the baker and the cupbearer and more dreams.
Well, somebody came up to me after church and shared something that did not come up in my research, but in researching it later, it's definitely a possibility that Potiphar was a eunuch.
Yeah, that was one of the
questions.
That was one of the questions that came in. What about it? Do we have any idea about that?
So the Hebrew word that's used for his rank has a part of that word that can mean eunuch.
Really?
It can also mean high-ranking official. So it's actually Jewish medieval scholars tended to say that they thought he was a eunuch and that Potiphar was a eunuch. And some theologians say, and the case that they make for this is maybe this is why Potiphar's wife is kind of sexually frustrated and is chasing Joseph because, her husband is not going to be having sex with her. And so there you go. And so
interesting.
It's an interesting theory. I don't know that it really changes the story a lot because it's still his wife, and and so that's yeah.
It kind of seems like this is the first time that Joseph takes accountability for himself, though.
Okay.
To me, tell
me what you mean by that.
Well, you mean like everything else? He tells the dreams. He's egging on his siblings. They sell him into slavery, and he plays a role. I'm not saying that they should have done that, but that was the result of all what he did, their jealousy about it, and his standing with his father. And then if he was the person that whichever way, whether it was Potiphar's wife truly doing that, or if it was Joseph, whichever way that came out, at least here he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. It seems like the first good decision, solid decision. And it's not just like you pointed out, Ken, in your message. It wasn't, this is wrong for me to do to Potiphar. It's wrong. It goes against my beliefs. No, this would be sinning against God. Like, this is the first time that I feel like in the whole story where he's like, all the way I've been doing things really hasn't been working out all that well for me. And so maybe this time, no matter how it all came together, I got to take a stand for God. And then the story changes from there. Everything goes his way. He still goes to prison. But eventually that's where the rest of the story, as soon as he's done with that, because he took the stand, that he finds favor with Pharaoh. He can interpret the dream. God blesses him with that ability. Eventually he gets all the ice from the king. He got the signet ring. He's got the chain. He's got second in command. So it just feels like that's it's hard to fall on the sword and even more so if he didn't do anything, if it's that way where she was like, I think I got my eyes on that Joseph guy, and she made the whole thing up and then accuses him and he didn't do anything. That's even a tougher one to swallow, but to just say, no, I'm not going to sin against God, and then we'll just leave it and get essentially in God's hands. That to me is the turning point where maybe he finally grows up a little bit and is like, maybe it's time for Joseph to make a change. Because when I went through and read the whole chapter of Genesis 50, and the verses just before it, Joseph replied, "Don't be afraid of me. Am I God that I can punish you? You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people. No, don't be afraid. I'll continue to take care of you and your children." And then this part, so he reassured them by speaking kindly to them. So to me, this goes back to that last part of the verse where it's like, you know what? I probably have to make a change. And then through that change and through that process, he ends up being the person that reassures the people that did him probably the harm the most and at a more vulnerable time than Potiphar's wife.
You have to wonder about the process that he went through, though, because especially after when he names his children. And his firstborn, he names him Manasseh, which means, it sounds a lot like the Hebrew word for forget. Like because I've forgotten my father's house and my father's household. Basically, this is symbolic of me forgetting where I came from, maybe, and then fully embracing his new life. And then his second son, I can't remember, is Ephraim, but I can't remember. It means something like I've been blessed twice over or something to that effect. So I think it's interesting that it's after that point in the story that his brothers suddenly appear. So his past that he has, quote unquote, forgotten shows up again.
Yeah. It feels a lot like life. He interprets the dreams of the baker and the cupbearer, and then the cupbearer's like, "Oh, heck yeah. You're my guy. I'm totally gonna tell the king about you because that was awesome, and I won't forget." And then just, oops, forgot until all of a sudden at the right time. And that's, to me, the waiting part, when it's like, oh man, here's a break, and you've been through the ringer. Things haven't been going your way for a long time, and you feel like God's not listening, and then you do something clearly with a gift that God gave you to perform. And it's still like, man, still coming up snake eyes. This really stinks. Like, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do at this point. I've, tried to, again, I tried to do the right thing with Potiphar's wife, and I'm in this season. And then it's like, finally at the end, like, oh yeah, I know a guy.
Yeah.
So I guess you never know when a kind or a good deed is going to come back and be beneficial to you.
And, maybe that forgetfulness was very beneficial for him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
if the cupbearer had gone right away to Pharaoh and said, "Hey, there was a guy in prison who told me about what was going to happen to me," Pharaoh might have been like, "Oh, that's really cool, man. Bring him out. Have him go ahead and do some magic tricks for me, and then, all right, go on. Go back to jail."
There's nothing for you to solve.
There's nothing, or yeah. I don't know. I mean, or maybe he wouldn't have been interested, but the fact that the cupbearer shares the story at a time that Pharaoh has no other options, because later on in the story it talks about how the Egyptians would not eat with Hebrews, and so I tend to think that if the cupbearer had told right away, it wouldn't have made any difference. I think Pharaoh would have been like, "Okay, whatever. Who cares? Like, good for you. You got your story. You got your dream interpreted. Congratulations. Moving on. I'm not going to mix up with some foreign guy. I'm not going to do that."
Because that might not have moved the needle for anything.
No, and besides that, Potiphar was a major figure in his court. So why would he want to tick off Potiphar by, being there? There would have been a lot of politics involved with that. So I think that the cupbearer's forgetfulness probably worked very much to Joseph's advantage in the long term, but in the short term, I'm sure for Joseph it felt very much like God, can I not catch a break here? I mean, you gave me this opportunity, and now you're not moving on it. Why wouldn't you move on it? And I think that is one of the challenges in my life, is to trust God's timing and to really trust God when things don't go the way that I think they should, when they should.
Yeah, it just seems like it's a story that everyone can resonate with, that they've been in that place at some point. And I know it feels like at that point we're putting God in the scorekeeper game. Well, God, I mean, I did resist temptation, and, I'm here being persecuted because I told them it'd be a sin against you. And that was a witness. And so somehow we get extra credit for that, when I don't think that's the way it works. And I don't think God is always keeping track in that way, or maybe ever, I don't know. But that just seems like an easy one to raise the expectations. Oh, I did a good thing. That's a mark in the good column. So surely goodness and mercy shall follow me for the rest of my days. I don't know. The part that I always get to is at the end of the story, and maybe it's just the natural progression of it, but it doesn't seem like Joseph always gets enough credit because of maybe how the story starts and who he was. But man, 13 years is a long time to endure, to overcome. And maybe we've talked a lot about forgiveness, and it's like, look, you have to forgive for you, but that doesn't mean we have reconciliation. But to the level of reconciliation that, moves the whole family, he forgives them, he dresses them in fine clothing. They have to be living the good life in Egypt after they come and are living with him. To me, that's a major transformation in the person that was poking the bear constantly with the dreams, the code, the privilege of where he was in Dad's hierarchy of the family, to, hey man, I got the ring and the chain, and I could squash you like a bug right now, and nobody would do a thing to me. I'd just tell them you were stealing, and that would have been the end of it. And we could have done, whatever, public execution. I could have done anything, and I didn't. I love that arc of where he started, because I'm pretty sure I'm not that person that would have been nearly as kind.
I wonder what would have happened if they had showed up to Egypt and Joseph had still been a slave. If he would still be like, hey, you know what? I forgive you.
Oof. Yeah. Your circumstances have to play a role in that.
Right. Yeah.
He might have still been a little distant, bitter. Right?
Well, I think people change over time, but I just wonder if how much the circumstances actually played into his ability to forgive.
Or maybe he saw how much God helped him in that change over, that arc, and was like, hey, if God can do this for me, I can do this for them. But without it, can you change that much without circumstances changing that much with you?
Well, just like David's story. So I think somebody asked, when we were talking about on a previous podcast, would David have still repented had Nathan not come and told him the story? I think it's just interesting how things happen in your life that alter your direction or alter your framework of thinking.
Yeah. No, that's something to think about for sure. All right, Lucas, did we have any questions?
Yeah, we got 2 questions here.
All right.
Do you think part of Jacob's favoring of Joseph comes from him being favored over Esau? If so, do you think he was?
I think maybe, I think that probably plays into it. I think as a younger brother, that probably plays into it for a bit. I also think a major part of that was that Jacob desperately wanted to have a child with Rachel. And when he finally was able to have that child with Rachel, that child became very important to him. So I think there are probably more than a few factors at play here, but that was definitely, I think, one of them.
Yeah.
How much of Joseph's own arrogance played into his trials?
I think it's a little hard to say, having not been there, and because the Bible doesn't give the details on it. But the Bible doesn't explicitly say that Joseph really rubbed his brother's nose in his father's preference. He shares his dreams, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he was trying to, push the point. Although I think he was.
I think there's something that happens just prior to this story where Joseph actually goes and tells on his brothers to Jacob. So I think that there was probably that resentment that was underlying. So when you already have a framework of reference for a person and who you think they are, and if you're already harboring resentment, and then they come along and, this series of things happening, I think it can probably just exacerbate everything. So yeah, maybe he did have some arrogance, but it could also be that he had told on them for doing whatever it was that they did.
Well, and if you're the youngest, and he's the youngest of, or not almost the youngest, out of 12. That's also, you're fighting to be heard, even if even if everyone else can see that you're the favorite. Just because you are doesn't also just because Dad likes me or Dad and I have a great relationship, that doesn't mean that I'm, one special or whatever. but I think as the youngest, you're looking for attention as well. So part of it could just be the natural, like, oh man, look what Dad did. I mean, I'm proud of the fact that I got a new, really awesome coat, not thinking or not even understanding the hierarchy, because how many years older was Reuben than him? I mean, this is probably a pretty good time frame, right, between all of them. So someone who's in their teens or early 20s or later, and someone who's, I don't know how old Joseph was when this happened, but
he was 17.
Well, he was 17. Well, they had to be quite a fair amount older than that.
It's kind of interesting because the timing of it, I was trying to figure that out, because by the time Jacob comes to Egypt, he's 130 years old. And yet
Jacob's 100. Yeah, right.
And yet his brothers are saying about Benjamin, bring the boy. And he's the son that my father, got in his old age. But then Joseph by that point was probably 35, 30. Well,
by the time, yeah, probably
35 or 40, somewhere.
Yeah, he would have actually been 37 or 38, right?
Right. So that would have made his father somewhere around 90 when he was conceived. So the timing is all strange. I mean,
yeah.
So how old were the brothers? I don't know.
Abraham had a child when he was 100, right?
Yeah. No, I'm saying about the timing of when different people were born to Jacob is interesting.
To see,
like, because if you count backwards, you start realizing what age these different things happened.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Well, either way, it's there's a lot of things, just like with David and Bathsheba that we talked about last week. There's a lot of things that we don't know for sure, and a lot of things that you can say, well, this is what I believe, but I'm not really sure. Bible doesn't tell us, but that makes it kind of fun too, just to think about or try to do the math backward. I can't do math forward, so I'm not going to try to do it backwards. So we'll leave that up to the people that are competent, like Melanie, to take care of those. So that we're not going to do that on air.
Math is not my strong point either, my friend.
Do we have any? Your math? No? We have a whole table. You're not a math person, are you?
Wow, I'm honored that you'd ask.
Are you?
No.
I thought you said no before. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm not putting them.
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, so we have a whole. So maybe we could. Maybe one of you out there in podcast land would like to be our official statistician or mathematician when we have hard questions that we could send to you.
Calculus
do some calculus.
That's how good I am.
And some calculating. Could you do that?
Calculus.
I think Rudy could do some calculating.
But it's
Rudy might be able to do some cackling for us. I'm not sure about calculus, but well, maybe. I don't know. Never mind. Rudy's not a mathematician. We just figured that out. Anyhow, our favorite things returns with Exodus 14:14, which says, now this is, I'm gonna do a spoiler because this is a little weird to me. New Living Translation, it is, the Lord himself will fight for you. Just stay calm. That's New Living Translation.
Yep.
My challenge is to Ken is that he should preach this based in the Message version or the Message paraphrase.
Okay.
I know the Message isn't a version. Slightly different spin. God will fight the battle for you, and you keep your mouth shut. There has to be a better story with the way the Message paraphrases this than, just stay calm. I like, keep your mouth shut. Oh, and by the way, he'll do it, but just keep your mouth shut. I like that better.
All right.
I think it might be fun. So if there's a way you can weave that in, that would be wonderful.
Anything for you, Randy.
That feels good. Good. Anything for Randy. Look for that next week. All right. Anything else? What else is up? What else is coming up that we...
Lake Day.
That's right. Lake Day is upcoming. wholelife.church/events. Don't miss it.
That's 2 Sundays from now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, August 2.
And if you've never been to Lake Day, it's about as chill as it gets.
Yeah.
You can go out in the boat. You can get in line, though. Get there early, get in line, because everybody wants to get a tow around the lake on the tube or ride in the boat. So that's an all-day activity. But, there's hot dogs and food, and there's usually watermelon, cold things to drink.
It's a good time.
It is a good time. And you can just hang out. There's volleyball. I think last year someone brought a slip and slide. Maybe that was 2 years ago. I don't remember. But there's always something interesting happening at Lake Day, and a lot of people show up. So if you're like, hey, I need to meet some new people, come to Lake Day. It's a good day to do that.
Yeah.
Because you can just bring your lawn chair and kind of chill.
Randy, it might be worth saying that next week we're going to be recording the podcast in between services.
That's
so
true.
if you want to put a question in, you'll want to go ahead and put it in before first service is over.
Because we're going to come right upstairs and get to work.
I have received my summons to go up to Camp Kalakwa for the Florida Conference Ministerial Retreat. So,
so you're leaving.
I will be retreating.
You will be retreating right after second?
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, so you do have a little bit of time, but not much.
It's going to be warming up for October.
Oh, that's right. Mark, that's in the events calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put it in your calendar because it's new this year. If you've never been to church retreat, not only is it a lot of fun, this year's our 100th anniversary of the church. So we're going to do some
first weekend in October.
Some special stuff there. I'm looking forward to October, and I'm praying. It's a little further north. Nice weather starts to kind of creep in October. So if our first 80% humidity weekend came at that time, that would be.
I feel confident that will be the case, Randy.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Check back.
Just shut your mouth and watch the Lord work.
Check back at 10 for meteorologist Ken Wetmore as he brings you the extended forecast.
Just shut your mouth and enjoy the weather.
That's it. That's perfect. All right. And so we'll be looking for our favorite things next week, an early podcast. Get your questions in early. And then, GLS is going to be here August 6th and 7th.
Global Leadership Summit.
So
it's
please,
a good time.
Don't miss out this year. Yep. Everyone has influence. I'm really excited about this year. I went to the pre-planning session for 2 days earlier this summer, and there's a lot of really cool stuff planned for this year. So please, if you've been before, you will have, by the time you hear this, you'll have received an email with a link to get signed up and, bring a friend, bring your group from work. Lots of cool lots of spaces left, but they will fill up fast the closer we get there. So get registered now. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for listening and have a fantastic rest of your week. Thanks for listening to This Is Whole Life. If today's conversation resonated with you, we invite you to subscribe, share, and leave a review on your favorite listening platform. To join the conversation, send a text or voicemail to 407-965-1607 or email podcast@wholelife.church. To learn more about Whole Life Church, worship with us online or in person, visit our website, wholelife.church. Until next time, this is Whole Life.